MultimediaJay radio style.
This is the MultimediaJay show. Another cliche in the making, and this is our new entry for the individual series that we're talking about here. The MultimediaJay show, of course, was my first attempt at a full-length podcast, partially inspired by my involvement on Out of Continues with Staffa, the gaming show that I occasionally am a guest host on. And it's definitely been a lot of fun, but I was actually tossing around the idea of a podcast even before getting involved there from time to time, but I just didn't know what I was going to do, because I was always watching IPTV type stuff like DLTV back in the day and HD Nation before it became part of Techzilla, as well as Techzilla. It's basically the Revision 3 shows and all these shows over the years that have featured former Tech TV talent that is now Revision 3 and that group, you know. Also, Leo Laporte's Tech Guy show that's syndicated and even plays on stations around here from time to time. And although I'm more of a podcast person when it comes to the Tech Guy, stuff like that, it's really where I got the idea from, was Leo Laporte's Tech Guy show is really the whole casually talk about stuff like that, but include a few elements of shock jockery, so to speak, if I really feel passionate about a topic. So, the MultimediaJay show, silly name for a podcast, I know. Actually, it used to be the name of the vlog before I specified that it was a vlog. We're talking like 2007 or so, because I remember when Zaran Izarak first started the Multimedia Chronicles all those years ago. I was like, oh, the Multimedia Chronicles, what a stupid name for a vlog series. He was like, oh, yeah, like the MultimediaJay show's any better. I can't do that kind of voice when talking about him, though. I got him. Greetings, everyone. The MultimediaJay show was a silly idea, too. Sayonara. He's gonna be mad at me for that. So, do another Super Mega Transform type blue screenema video, and we'll call it even, Mr. Z. MultimediaJay show. It's been fun, and it's been distinguished from Radio Style, its smaller cousin, with its full-length nature and things like that, and no graphics, because I don't want someone to feel like they're ever missing anything when they're listening to the podcast because of how long the darn things are. I've never actually made a show less than 50 minutes in length, and that's because of how big it is. I like the format of it. I like the news commentary and the main discussion and things like that. I didn't like the fake commercials so much because they were getting kind of forced. So I switched to the commercial-free format to make it so that I didn't sit around never recording because I couldn't think up an idea for a fake commercial. I may even just ditch the fake commercial thing altogether. It's supposed to like add to the radio sounding thing to it and stuff like that for the podcast and stuff along those lines. But I'd say it's definitely off to a pretty decent start. The big thing I'd like to do with the MultimediaJay show in 2013 is simply make more of them. There have been times when I've gone months between shows, and I'd like to stop that at some point. But by the same token, I don't want to be making shows about minutia. This is a huge format, and Radio Style can take care of stuff that I can talk about in a smaller format. This has got to be for the big stuff that maybe has news stories about it and opinion commentary that I can add to it. It's got to be about the big topics because of how long it is. The length of the podcast comes with a price, and I need to acknowledge that price and things along those lines as well. So I just wanted to for 2013, we'll just keep on keeping on, as the old song goes with the podcast. It's never going to be anything fancy because of the length. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're missing something if they're not glued to the video, and I use that term loosely, the whole time it's playing. So I'm surprised though that these things are getting the kind of views that they're getting for something like that. I'd think that this is the kind of thing that would make people flame me, like, "Oh, you idiot! I'm wasting an hour of my life listening to you talk. And I want that. That's part of my life I'll never get back. Why don't you make some real videos, you lazy bum?" So, oh yes. Well, we'll figure it out with the show, and where the dividing line is between radio style and the podcast, we'll figure it out. Anywho, that's really it for the current big series. So we're going to wrap up the State of the Channel discussion 2013. I guess it's going to be mini-series now with how long this has gone on. I think we're going to wrap this up. We'll discuss the retro reel as well as the smaller series as well in one big final wrap up. So here comes the wrap up of the State of the Channel discussion for 2013 right here on the Multimedia J channel. Stay tuned.